guys, so I'm gonna get into the rest of it. You guys already know what I'm about to be talking about. I'm talking about Spawn, Gunslinger. You know what I'm saying? Y'all see it? The first half it was in the modern times. It was, the story was in the modern times, whereas this one, the latter half of this movie, excuse me, the latter half of this comic book is based in August the year 1853. So when I said he was the Western Hellspawn, I meant it. You know what I'm saying? So the first half of the comic was in modern times. This one is in 1853. Look at all this. So that's the first page of this, this side of the story. So he's already Spawn. Hopefully they show us like how he became Spawn. I'm trying to figure out how he became Spawn, right? Because they say each person has to for all intents and purposes has to earn the right to be a Hellspawn. So I'm trying to figure out what's going on, but I will. And you know what? I'm gonna just break this video off in sections. So I'll get back to you guys after I read the other half of the Gunslinger. Yo. Finally finished it. I finally finished Gunslinger. Man. I read it and it's good, man. It's good. Check that out. The artwork is fantastic in the book. It's fantastic, and I think it's something that if you like Spawn, you will like Gunslinger. I am new to Spawn. I am just getting comics of Spawn. I can't speak for people that have read Spawn before, but if you kind of just like the look of Spawn and the other they're starting a multiverse. If you like multiverses, they're starting a multiverse. So if you like the whole multiverse meets Spawn lore and new Spawn characters, you will definitely like Gunslinger. Apparently, this issue, I thought it was gonna, when it went to the latter half of the story, I thought it was gonna go back to the 1860s, because that's when they say the character. I mean, that's when we meet the character, and that's not the case. It actually, a lot of what's going on in this comic happens between the late 40s, 1840s, excuse me, the late 1840s to the early 1850s. So they take it back. And he looks just like this. Like, I thought they were going to introduce us to like how he became the Spawn. That's my only knock on this comic. I thought they were going to introduce his genesis to us as readers. Like, okay, we're getting our first Gunslinger Spawn. How did he become Gunslinger Spawn? But obviously they're gonna talk about that in other issues that I got coming, and that's how they're gonna do it. They're just gonna layer it over the course of however long this story arc is, and I am invested, so I think it's really cool. But you'll see when I show you this. Apparently it says in here, though all Hellspawn throughout time have been endowed with powers derived from hell, there is still a need for every Spawn to find some financial stability, regardless of their supernatural prowess. And he's a bounty hunter. Yeah, he's a bounty hunter. So he's trying to find these three men who are murderers. And they're wanted dead or alive. They're wanted dead or alive. So he finds them, and he he does the damn thing on them. Like, it is crazy. I can't even show you what he did to these dudes, but they're a gang, and he gets rid of them. He dispatches them very handedly, and then it talks about how which I thought was cool. It's like, yeah, a bounty hunter. Like, okay, I get it now. It makes sense, And then they talk about how it's monsters. I think he even fights against angels. So it's like in hell and heaven are in a constant battle in this world, and it actually goes down. And so I guess it's crazy. This is Spawn. Like, let's not get into it. This is Spawn. So angels and demons are fighting, and there's like always like some war going on, and alliances and stuff. So it's like I don't know. That's from what I know about Spawn. There's always this war. You know what I'm saying? The angels and I think if I'm correct, there's like a army of heaven that are like armored soldiers in this too, and like winged warriors. So like I haven't really seen that much, but uh, um, we have seen a angel in this one. I'm trying to find the comic. I just put it away, but we have seen an angel in this one. It's worth mentioning actually. Um, I mean, it's worth showing because I don't know what type of angel this is. I don't know if it's a fallen angel, but this is what the angel looks like right there. That's the angel right there. So, you know, yeah, it's Spawn, man. Y'all know what it is. He fights against monsters and things of that nature, and what happens is like when he fights against monsters that are unlike people, he has to shoot them in the head. So that's the only way they die. Um, and so yeah, that's crazy. And also it talks about, and then I'm going back into where I was just talking about how Gunslinger, was basically modifying his weaponry to combat these enemies that come after him. Because being Hellspawn, you're just like, enemies follow you. It's kind of like with from what I'm gathering, to some extent, it's kind of like if when there's Hellspawn, apparently demons are and ghouls are aware. So it kind of reminds me of Guts, from Berserk. He's hit with the mark, he has the mark on him. And in this case, the mark of a Hellspawn is their suit, so and like I said, he's marked, right? So just like Guts, when he had that mark put on him, monsters want to come and get him, because he's like, he's food basically. Um, and so it says, and though he honed his skills over the years in a cruel twist of fate, the more he protected himself, the weaker he became. Because the only substance he could use to fortify his weapons against specific monsters was his own blood, the blood that contained his powers. So here he is here he is in a barn that we're seeing up close and personal inside the barn of him, making bullets, or I shouldn't say making bullets, but dipping bullets in his blood. Crazy. So this issue is like, and it also says a tidbit here that's pretty dope. Um, It says each new bullet he makes comes at the expense of draining his own strength, and he was already one of the weakest spawns to ever walk on Earth. I was like, wow, damn, he's one of the weakest. But I guess that makes the story more. That makes for me actually that I honestly makes the story more heavy. It gives it more gravity because I know I'm not going to be seeing all this grandiose superpowers all the time. You know, and if we do, it's probably not going to come from him all the time. It's going to be from someone he's fighting against. So, yeah, man. So yeah, he's locked and loaded. So they're saying further in the comic that he needs to choose his method of fighting wisely, right? Because because he can die, you know, and it says how he's gotten vastly weaker because of him being cognizant of hey, I can use my blood for these bullets, and that makes him weaker, and it is interesting, man. It is really interesting. He's, after he finds these, after he does that to the gang, it still follows him along his journey in the 1940s, late 1940s and early 1850s. And yeah, man, he's still doing his thing, and it's really gonna be cool to see them bounce from modern times to, you know, the 1800s. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, that's gonna be cool, man. So stay tuned, because now, the way this ended, it's like, yeah, it's gonna go down. Like, yeah, so stay tuned. I'm be doing more of these, The Gunslinger. This is just the first issue, man. I think there's at least like five, so stay tuned.